theme music.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether it be your first time, your last time, thank you for being here this time. I'm AP, I'm your host, and I'm joined by the great, the legendary Mike Detillier. Mike, I cannot express to you how much of an honor it is for me to be sitting at this point in my life to talk to you and meet you tonight. I grew up listening to you join in with Big Chief and Bobby during your draft coverage, then hearing, especially during the days with Hokie on the radio, like you, Bobby, and Hokie on WWL was elite sports talk radio. People do not understand what they were missing if they did not get a chance to enjoy those days, man. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, AP. I really appreciate it. And, um, that's very kind of you to say. And I do know one thing in working with Bobby and Hokie and Deke and everybody else, man, it's been one hell of a ride. So I enjoyed. I can't say every minute. That's a Bobby line. Come on, you got to say you enjoyed most of the moment. I was like, okay, but yeah, it's great to be here. Glad to see, man. You're doing so well, and you do a terrific job.
Man, thank you, Mike. I definitely appreciate it. So everybody I get on from Louisiana, I always ask them these two questions. And you being a native from down the bayou, I know you're going to give me a raw, real answer when I ask you this. So who has the best crawfish and the best king cake?
Yeah. Crawfish, man, it just depends on who boils it. I have been to some of the best crawfish balls in my life. And
who was it?
I'll be honest with you.
Let's give them a shout out right now.
I've eaten crawfish at restaurants. You don't compare. Man, right. You come on the bayou, and Fletcher Mackle was telling me this. He gets invited to a wedding, and they have the reception in Galliano. And he was like, Mike, I never seen so much food in my life. And he had never eaten dip with crawfish. I'm like, what? Fletcher, you done live here all your life and you ain't never put dip in a crawfish? So we had a long talk. Man, I said, you need to hang out in the bayou a little bit longer. But some of the best crawfish I've ever eaten, and there is no question about it, has been at individual crawfish balls I've done at someone's house. Much better than any restaurant. I'm not taking away from any restaurant in the city, on the bayou, Big Al's in Homer, man. They do a great job with crawfish. I know there's other crawfish places all across the area, but some of the, no question for me, best crawfish balls have been at somebody's house.
You know what makes that special too? You know what makes that special too? Is the memories that you get from those moments. It's one thing to go sit down at a table and buy it at a restaurant. When somebody like is boiling, you got jokes being cracked, card games being played, kids running around. It's always a good vibe. And your feeling and emotion behind crawfish boils is exactly how I feel about gumbo. I'm not walking into no restaurant expecting a good cup of gumbo. I know I'm gonna get gumbo at somebody's house that's better than this.
Man, I think me and my mom, man, she didn't pass away a few years, but man, that gumbo, that was unbelievable. Just the taste of it and just that smell.
Mm-hmm.
I did a show a while back. They were like, smells. And I'm like, man, the smell of in a restaurant when they frying fish and shrimp, that smell hits you. And the other thing too is you go somewhere to get a snowball and you walk in and that shot because all those flavors and all.
That syrup.
Okay, I'm almost 66, I was telling you. So, man, I got a lot of memories about all that and walking in different places, um, like on the bayou, man. Big Mike's Barbecue, and he's got
Oh,
one in Thibodeau.
look, Big
Unbelievable.
Mike's unbelievable barbecue. Shout out Big
Oh,
Mike's.
man,
Shout,
it
you
is
know
really,
they're
really good.
opening up he's getting ready to open up that big spot down in
In
Homer
Houma.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's got a smaller place in Houma now. The one in Thibodeau,
crushes it.
every time you go there, they got people. And so I'm
Yes.
going there Friday at lunchtime. We're having the last of the camps. Dr. David Elias has his pro football camp.
Okay.
And so I've got a couple of former players in the NFL and one current one that says, Mike, let's go to Big Mike. So we all sit around and talk for a while. I was like, bingo, let's do it. Let's do it.
Look, man, I'm very familiar with Big Mike's. I own a couple restaurant franchises in the home and Thibodeau area, and I
Okay.
try to get to Big Mike's as often as I possibly can. The Jamaican jerk wings, oh my
Man.
God,
It's the
that
only
slow roasted turkey.
man, I love ball corn on the cob.
Yeah,
And he was really good with it. And don't serve it no more.
don't serve it. You
Man,
don't serve it.
what?
I'm
Man,
so
you could have took out something else, but you shouldn't have took that out.
yes, exactly. I'm with you.
But
I
that
agree.
baked beans and everything it's just awesome. But that smell, I could be imprisoned in Russia for 25 years, but that smell of fried fish, fried shrimp, and when you walk into a snowball place and you get that whiff, man,
Oh man.
that's awesome.
So who has your best king cake? Who's your best king cake?
I'm not a huge king cake eater. I will eat it, and I don't complain about any of it. I got a sweet tooth. I'll be honest with you, AP. I'm not really particular with it. I mean, my daughter who lives in Metairie, her deal, Don Fong's is her deal. That and it
That's
is
not
really
king
good.
cake.
It is really good. And
That's
so
not king cake.
I'll give the nod there. But man, I do have a sweet tooth for cake and that sort of thing. Pralines. Oh man. And
Who's your
so
best praline then?
and my first cousin, Christine Babin, is the best praline cooker I've ever eaten. So at Christmas time every year, she sells, you have to order it through her. And so you call up and order. And so every year I'll get like 2 dozen. And my wife's like, 2 dozen? You're not going to eat 2 dozen pralines. I'll bring them to work. They don't last. Okay, I'll bring maybe 10 to work. They don't last no more than the day. If I would bring it like at 7 in the morning, by the time 6 o'clock and I'm ready to go home, go on, peck on, dude. Ain't nothing left. Not even the crumb. No crumb. I mean, I'm lucky to even see the bag.
Mike, man, I swear that's great. You're gonna have to. I'm definitely gonna reach out to you during the holiday time so I could.
You let me know. You let me know because sometimes my memory is not great. But you let me know, and I'll make sure I get you some, and then you can tell me. I'm telling you, and she does a great job. Always been great with it to cook, and so every Christmas, I'll get 2 dozen. Now I may eat a few, but people come over to the house, and right across the bayou from Latour Golf Course here in Matthews. So I get a lot of foot traffic, and so man, I was like, man, you want a praline? What? So they eat the one, and it's like, man, Mike, that praline was good. I said, well, you want another one for later on? They don't even get to the call with it. Jack is gone. Both of them gone by the time they leave.
So, Mike, you broke onto the scene with your scouting guide, and for NFL draft prospects, that's what I really know you for coming up is that draft guy. But you've been in the sports. you've been in the Louisiana sports. What made you fall in love with sports and with football specifically, coming up so much to where you are now?
A lot of times people come to my house and they look around. There's like, man, is this what sports bought for you? I'm like, what? Hell no. I was an engineer for 29 years. But I said, I love sports. My mom and dad would always say this before they passed away. You could have done what you're doing now at 12, 13 years old. You had a knack. It's almost like somebody who can pick stock, okay? And they really good at it. And it's not all the time a hit, but, for the vast majority it was. And so growing up with it, sports family, I have cousins that were coaches, and all my family members. We all played, and so you grew up in that environment. You really did. And so the crazy thing is that I went to Central Lafourche High School,
All right.
but Bobby and I are the same age, but he went to South because he lived south of the Intercoastal Canal. So that was
Right.
the line. Coach O, same way. Coach O's a year younger than us. And so all knew each other through different little connections, but we all sort of grew up with it, and sports was part of your life. It really was. And it's always been a part of my life, even though, for 29 years, I was an engineer. And so I sort of juggled two professions at that time. For me to scout and see a player, I don't need to break the tape down into powder. I've seen some people, they will not give you an opinion about a player unless they've seen him like 15 times. My thing is, man, I don't have time to watch a guy 15 times, but
Right.
I'm going to watch enough of him in different games, different quarters, different situations that I can tell if he can play. The other part too is, and I learned this from Don Klosterman, who was the former general manager of the Houston Oilers, Los Angeles Rams, Los Angeles Express. He was good friends with my former neighbor, Joe Clark. Joe was the backup quarterback in Cleveland for Otto Graham in the 50s. And then he became a coach. He coached major college football in the NFL 52 years. Okay. And so I learned a lot from Joe,
Hmm.
sort of me different things, learned a lot from Klosterman and what I could look for other than the obvious. And he gave me the biggest tip. He was like, man, if you get to know the trainer,
Hmm.
that guy is going to tell you a lot about the player. Because he said, Mike, I hate to say it, but it's true. And you know it because you're around them. Coaches lie. They're not going to tell you the truth about a player. They're going to tell you most of the time everything really good and not get into the negatives about a player. But the athletic trainer knows all about him, his work ethic, how much he can put up with, because there is a difference between playing with pain and playing with an injury. And so
Okay.
that particular part came into play for me. It helped me out so well. Um, After the fact, I would always look at what maybe some other people did. Joe Bushbaum was involved years and years ago before he passed away. I knew Mel Kiper really well. Um, Daniel Jeremiah,
Hmm.
I got to know Jeremiah when he was just a regional scout. So just talking to them and them talking to me, because I always felt like I don't know who was interrogating who.
Right.
They were trying to find out what I knew.
What you
I
knew.
was trying to find out what they knew. And so Bill Walsh had the best line of it. Bill came here and he won the Roselle Award for the Touchdown Club in New Orleans. And he came make a talk. And We got to talking about scouting. I don't know if there was a coach that was better as a talent evaluator than Bill Walsh. And he was like, you know what scouting is all about? He said, scouting is an educated guess. And he's right. He said,
Really? He
no,
summed it up to that line?
he's like, Mike, I'm telling you, it is no more than an educated guess. You can have all these facts, all these figures, all this data. It wasn't analytics back then, it was a database deal. But he said, I'm just telling you, when you look at a player and you have a feel for him, and he said, that was so important to me. I would get the scouting reports, but I would take a look at that player. How would he fit with us? And he said, the second question I asked is, if he's on someone else's team, is he good enough to beat me?
Mm,
I always kept that in my mind.
I like that.
The second quote was a Jim Finks quote. This goes back to 1987. And we doing a television show for Channel 26. It was ABC 26. And he come sit with me and he was like, hey, kid. I was 27 back then. He was like, hey, kid. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, you do a good job. I heard you. He said, man, you do a good job evaluating talent. He said, you want some good advice from an old man, man? And he puff on that Gonry. Man, he reminded me of my grandpa. He would light one cigarette with the other cigarette. And he was like, never fall in love with the athlete. Fall in love with the football player.
Explain the
So
difference.
sometimes when I would watch tape and it didn't match, he would work out great, but his tape was not overly impressive. Always went back to Jim saying, fall in love with the football player. He said, because you know why? You fall in love with the athlete beats you because you
Yep.
get you fired.
Yep. That
The
4.240
for you.
right. That 4.240 doesn't really mean anything on the football field.
I tell this to people all the time. I had a couple guys come in who want to be in the scouting business, who were watching tape of wide receivers. And it was like, man, this guy, man, he ran a 4.3 something. I was like, yeah, watch how he comes out of a cut and a break. He almost comes to a complete stop, and then he makes the cut. Okay, so what the hell good is that 4.33 speed if you come into a complete stop almost, or you can hear the reaching in the background, if you can't come out of there clean? When you watch a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb,
Malik Neighbors,
Jackson Smith, and the Jigba.
Jackson, and Michael Buka.
They are so smooth to get into and out of a cut and a break. What amazes me is to watch a big man do that, because it's harder for a longer leg guy to come out of that cut and a break real sharp.
I think that's what Jimmy Graham did not get enough credit for.
Jimmy was, I always looked at him as a positional tight end. He knew how to get position on the defensive. And it goes back to his basketball.
Yep.
How to get position, how to get a rebound, how to get a second chance rebound for an offensive score, how to get a rebound off the board defensively. He played that just like you would play basketball. But when you see big receivers, and I see a lot of them today, you watch a Jeremiah Smith with Ohio State. And I remember Julio Jones as a freshman. And hey, Alabama's got a guy there you ought to watch. And I was like, okay, did he play last year? He said, yeah, in high school. I'm like, what? And then I see him play. And even as an 18-year-old, how smooth he was to get into and out of a cut and a break. Didn't lose a lot of speed, didn't lose that intensity to get himself open and then position himself. That's what Jimmy could do as good as anybody. If you watch Travis Kelce today, and he's in the winter years of his career, what he still does really well, he positions himself between the defender and the ball, just like a basketball player. I
Yep.
got it, Tau. I got it, Tau. George Kittle, same thing, position himself, Tau. And so it's something I spend a lot of time when I watch receivers, and other people will come here and I'll show them, this is what I look like. This is what you should look like. I spend a lot of time teaching them, watch their feet and watch how smoothly they can come out of a cut and a break. It is such a key in route running. That's why you got guys that, yeah, they may not run 4.3 40-yard dashes.
Right.
Man, they corkscrew you into the ground. And
That's
I
it.
see younger guys today, and a lot of it has to do with 7-on-7, that they're learning how to run routes better.
And get open on the breaks quicker too from
They
off the line.
sense the defender, and also too with 7-on-7, it's a lot quicker game. So they sense they have to make that move quicker and without a lot of wasted motion. And it is part of, for me, when I scout a player, it's this thing that jumped out about me with Jordan Tyson. And there's no question, anytime you talk about him, you have to talk about his medical history. You can't just throw it away. Man, I hear people say that, well, that's irregardless. What? Then you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Injuries are a part of your resume.
Yes.
And I've seen it with guys that will have an injury, have another, follows them into the NFL. So, but irregardless of that particular part, and that always has to be taken into consideration when you evaluate it, is how smooth he is.
Man, he's so
to
smooth.
Get into and out of a cut and a break. And it's also, too, the acceleration after the cut, that he accelerates so quickly to the football. And he's got a lot of athletic arrogance about him. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You can do it. Hey, so what? The best players I've ever been around in any sport had a sense of athletic arrogance. Some people say, well, that's a kind of a backhanded comment. No, it ain't. Not if you're the athlete.
Right. No, it's not. That's a compliment.
On TV, they don't understand. They don't get it.
Right. That's a compliment. I'm glad we're talking about our receivers. Let's transition into this real quick. So I graduated from Brother Martin. My son played football at Edna Carr, won a state championship. I've seen a lot of Eastern Royal. How do you think he transitions into college? Because I believe he's a kid with his athleticism and his size, he can have an impact that's early on if given the opportunity.
Yeah, and he's going to play early. I don't care where he goes. He's going to play. Like most younger receivers who 16, 17, 18, there is some physical development, getting strength, because what will happen is, you see it at the college game, if I'm playing up against an 18-year-old receiver, I'm telling my corner, get on top of him and try to muscle him.
Mm-hmm.
You're stronger than he is. You're stronger than he is. That part will come in time, but he's a very smooth route runner. He is lucid to get away from people when he's bracketed. He has a way of finding that opening, and then the hands are up. It's there. And then once he catches it, he's one step and fast.
Yes.
Unbelievable speed. I mean, he got scary speed out in the open field. So he is one of the better wide receivers from a high school rank that I've seen in the Deep South over the last 10 years. I mean, he is immensely gifted. There is the expansion of the route trees, and that particular part, that happens for everyone. I don't care who that route tree gets expanded, but and he's gifted, and I can understand why so many schools are after him. I still think he ends up at LSU. I know John Summerall will do whatever he can do to do it. Man, I know John, he's relentless. Man, he never gives up on a player. And Texas is with who they are, and they've had a lot of really good receivers there. But I think he ends up at LSU, and he's going to play quickly. I mean, he is very gifted. He seems very focused. And again, his route running skills for a young receiver are really, really high. Really,
We're
really.
talking about a kid who's not even 17 years old right now.
But he's got one thing I can't teach. One, he tracks the ball quickly in flight. Okay. Some guys, they can't track it well, especially defensive backs. We have
That's why
camp,
they play defensive back.
and I always like, why are you turning your back to that? And they were like, well, that's what they teach us in high school. I'm like, well, okay. I don't want to get involved with that, but
Right.
you got to be able to track it over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing with Easton, he tracks it very quickly once it comes off the hand of a quarterback. You can see it, poof, and he tracks it. Secondly, can't teach him something he got. He got pull away speed, with a helmet and with shoulder pads. And I'll say this about speed: he never had a bad day in his life. Never, never had a bad. And he's got track speed, but in a football uniform.
Yes.
He's got track speed, but it is in a football uniform.
I watched Easton Royal play against one of the greatest Edna Carr defenses, and he took a legitimate 3 yard in breaking route where he stopped on a dime and ran away from Maurice Williams, who's playing defensive back at Colorado, Hayward Howard Jr., who's playing defensive back at Texas, and Aiden Hall for a 65-yard touchdown run. And he was at a dead stop, and nobody touched him.
He is one step, and he's fast. I see a lot of guys, I would say, that are like two-step fast. And if you're a tall receiver, sometimes it's the third step, and then you become. But Easton is one step, and then he's fast, and that scares you, because if you don't get your hands on him, then all you take the back of his cleats. Back of his cleats.
I told so I'm coaching over at Kennedy, and I told one of the coaches, I said, imagine taking Michael Vick and splitting him out wide. That's the type of speed that you're talking about with Easton. And like my guy Randy says, he's fast. So
he's fast is right.
So when we're talking about Easton, of course, the recruitment of him is very important. And the fact that LSU added a Ed Ogeron back into the fold right when they did, talk to us real quick about how important, one, bringing Ed Ogeron back, but two, how smart of a move it was. And like, not even, I don't want to say humbling, but it's a compliment to Lane Kiffin to know who Ed Ogeron is, what he was able to accomplish, and still say, you know what, you come bring that energy back to Louisiana, back to LSU, and what that means for this recruiting class and then for LSU as a whole.
Well, I think one is the fact that if that's a question mark for me about LSU in 2026, it's along their defensive line, especially we've got a lot of young guys, freshmen. If it's Richard Anderson, if it's Deuce Gerald,
Lamar Brown, Trenton Henderson.
Or Lamar play on the – now, I mean, I don't know how much Lamar play on the edge at 290 pounds. I think eventually he'll get kicked inside. But
yeah,
Ed has recruited and developed 13 first-round pick defensive line.
I said that stat.
And so I think that was a big part of it. I think they took a look at it and said, Kevin Peoples and Sterling Lucas have been much more involved on the edge, not so much in the interior. So Ed can help us there. He brings a certain spirit to him. And he's going to get on you. I mean, if you do something wrong, he gonna give you an earful. Now he'd be the first one to compliment you, but he also give you a big earful if you messing up, or he doesn't think you giving great effort. And I had Warren Sapp on, uh, not like before he got into coaching. So I knew Ed had recruited Sapp when he was in the 8th grade. That's when he first started recruiting Sapp because he was at Miami, Florida back then.
Right.
And so he tells me in Sapp Senior, yeah. We got a guy, Mike, I'm telling you, Sapp, man, he can play in the NFL. Man, you talking about he's good. I said, okay, what's the deal? Oh, he said he ain't the biggest, he ain't the strongest, ain't the fastest. But he said, man, that son bitch is mean. Relentless. And that he's so athletic. And so I remember that. So I brought Sapp on and told him the story. He said, man, some of the practices, he said, were unbelievable. He said, we were so looking forward to playing games on Saturday because he said, man, the practices were brutal with Ed. And he was relentless with it at that point. So he told me the story that I had heard about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Dwayne hardly said anything. They called him Dewey because anytime Ed would talk to me about him, yeah, Dewey, I'm like, who's Dewey? Dwayne Johnson, got him from Pennsylvania. And he was telling me that finally, Coach O went up to him and said, listen, Sapp, I know you kind of pick on these guys, but you best not pick on Dewey. And he's like, why? He said, man, his grandpa, his uncle, his dad, they're all professional wrestlers. He said, Sapp, I'm telling you, he catch you a certain way, man, it's going to take me and 4 or 5 other guys to break it up. he said, don't mess with him. He said, okay. So Sapp said, I would needle him a little bit, but I really wasn't on him like I was some of the other guys. And he was like, Dwayne really never said anything. So this is when Dwayne now hits the WWE. And so Ed called me one day about some recruit that he's trying to recruit from Louisiana. And he was at USC at the time. And he was, he was like, hey, you watch the wrestling? I said, yeah, sometimes. Why? He said, man, you heard that guy, The Rock? I was like, yeah. He said, that's Dewey. I was like, yeah. I said, I kind of pieced it together. He's like, Mike, somebody got to be talking for him because he ain't never said squat. Yeah, somebody got to be talking for him. I can't believe it. He said nothing. He said nothing. And he said, now he's running his mouth every which way but loose. Ed got stories one after the other. But one, he's a great technician coach to teach young defensive linemen how to play, especially interior guys. And secondly, he don't take no for an answer as a recruiter. Does not. Okay,
Really?
coach, I'm looking somewhere else. Okay, listen. That's great for now, but I'm gonna call you tomorrow. And he said, you get that long pause about call me tomorrow. I just told you, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. And he's relentless with recruiting, and he knows the area, knows all the high school coaches, everybody, and he has become out of the game a bigger than life personality.
Yes.
And so you get to hear him talk and to tell all the stories. And we're fortunate that he comes on. He came on, I guess, during the fall, maybe once a month. He would say, hey, once a month, T-boy, once a month. I'll do it. And so the week before he gets hired, he's trying to con me into going to the Joe Burrow charity event. I told him, I said, Ed, I'll send a check. He was like, oh, come on, what are we talking about? I said, come on, Baton Rouge ain't 5 minutes from my house. And they had given kind of rainy weather and kind of bad weather for Baton Rouge. I said, I'm not going. Oh, I ain't going to tell you what he called me, but it wasn't good. I was like, Ed, I'll send you a check. Everything will be good. So, okay. So the next day, oh, man, you missed it. You should have come here. He said, oh, man, the weather was bad. He said, you were right about that. And he met up with a couple of people that I knew over there. And so I was like, man, I need to get you on the show. Yeah. When you want me? I said 4:25 Monday. Got it. Okay. So got him booked. I tell Charlie, my producer, Charlie Long, I said, Charlie, call up Coach O. He calls him up, and I mean, it was a short conversation. He's like, Mike, you know he's in Mexico? I'm like, what? He said, he's in Cabo. Okay. So I get him on. I said, Bebe, tell me what's going on. Hey, I'm in Cabo. Hey, on vacation over here, me and the wife, having a good time, looking out on the beach. Man, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful here. I was like, why didn't you tell me you on vacation? I wouldn't have asked you to do it. He was like, what the hell? You asked me, I'm doing it. Let's go. Let's go. So, man, 23 minutes, and he ain't hardly took a breath. I mean, he went on and on and on and on. So, yeah, we go back a long time, and I think college football is better with him. But I think
Yes.
the main things is, one, he can coach the freshman defensive tackles really well, technical-wise, and you're going to have to get them ready. I'm not sure any of them start, but they're going to have to play secondary roles. The other thing, too, is you recruiting. Ed has always been a guy that loves to recruit nationally. He's always a Louisiana first, but then nationally. And he told me this the year that he got fired, that, hey, we're going to start recruiting in Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. He said, Mike, got a lot of players here. We're going to start doing that. And he had things lined up, but, they didn't play well. And, he admits, we didn't play well. I'm fired. I go back to it now, and I think about, they got a guy from Virginia already, 2 people from Pennsylvania. They're involved with other guys along that eastern seaboard.
Right.
That's Ed Ogeron saying, man, I know they got players there. We got great players here. Let's put that levy around the state. But if we're going to recruit, let's get into that area. And 2, you think about Clemson, Dabo Sweeney, and then Beamer,
Yes.
Carolina, Belichick at North Carolina. Are those guys secure?
No.
And so, yeah, I might commit there, but what happens if they're not there? Then, hey, T-Boy, hey. No, I know exactly how he's thinking about that. So the recruiting part is certainly big, but I think a big part of it, I really believe Coach Kiffin took a good look and said, hey, I need a guy with some experience here to coach that interior defensive line, and I'll let Kevin and I'll let Sterling coach the edges, where you have some talent there with Princewell and Jordan Ross. And those are 2 important pieces of the puzzle for them, because LSU needs to get that's something that is always was there in the past, but we've seen it sporadically now. Pass
The
rush.
last 4 years, you haven't had a consistent pass rush off the edge, and it's
Nope.
affected the defense dramatically. I mean, your leading sack getter last year was 4.5 sacks from a linebacker who was really a nickel player.
So I was laughing with him just before he took the job. Tulane had a day where they brought in a whole bunch of high school seniors, and his son Tyler is the tight ends coach at Tulane. And so I must have saw about 30 pictures of Ed taking pictures with, linemen that are there. So Bobby and I are talking. He was like, Mike, where's the picture of Coach Hall and the players? I'm like, I don't know. All I'm seeing is pictures of Ed taking pictures with all these offensive, defensive linemen. Goes to show how he has become almost like a celebrity.
Yes.
He's down here because, I mean, you look to him, how many people from down here is going to be the head coach? Be the head coach at LSU. You win a national championship, and he was like a shooting star. Okay, you had that one unbelievable year. Things came apart for different reasons, but he still was from down here. Always had a space in his heart for on the Bayou, and like for Bobby and I, if we ever asked him to do something, yeah, I'll do it. Hey, I'll call him up. Hey. Some charity wants me to have, you sign a couple things. Hey, when you want me to stop?
Man, look, I'm telling you
Sign,
right now,
sign,
like
sign. Hey,
Ed Ogeron, even before he became the head coach at LSU, he was one of my favorite people just because of how he loved Louisiana. He embodied where he was from, and he never turned his back on that. And you could see, like, as anyone who has aspirations of getting ahead in whatever your career is, Ed Orgeron represents that. Just putting your head down and going to work, not caring about what anybody else outside of you has to say, and just grinding it out and being the best version of yourself.
yeah,
He
he is. Him and I both have a line that we use, and we heard it from someone else. Is that you know, fight like hell every day.
mm,
Fight like hell every day. And like he said, hey, I ain't got to tell you that, because he said, you more quiet about it. But man, he said that fire in you is pretty hot. He said with me, it's much more outward, the fire. But I'll use that if people ask me to go talk different places or talk to students or in high school that are looking to get into journalism, or people in college that are in the journalism classes. Like, hey, you got to fight every day, every day. And some things are not going to work out for you. You
right.
got to learn how to pick your ass up, dust yourself off, and get back in the fight every day, because nobody's going to give you anything. You got to fight for it every step of the way. And that he embodies, because if you know his life, I mean, how he's got to that point is just amazing to me. He's also super personable with everybody. And if he gets to know you, man, he gonna know your mama, your papa, your auntie and uncle. I mean, he know everybody. Oh yeah, my second cousin and this guy, he's related to that guy. And I mean, it's a long story, but he is persona what Louisiana's about, and that tough guy went through some difficult times, never gave up,
Yep.
and fought like hell and dusted himself off. And he's done well in life. Like he said,
That's
hey, look, the three of us, me, you, and Abear. We done it pretty good, right? I was like, yeah, we done it. If it ends tomorrow, I wouldn't have a complaint. And he's right, wouldn't have a complaint.
and see, and he's still one of the people, like, I don't get starstruck a lot. Like, I'm legitimately fanning out right now and I'm speaking to you because it's like I love where I'm from. I love my state. I don't play behind, my roots, and Louisiana has a bad rap for people who aren't from here. But the people who represent us truly represent us. Like, we've all had to fight and overcome things to get to where we are, and nothing was ever really handed to us. And that's why I love Ed Ogeron for what he is and what he's become, and even through his mistakes that he's made.
Yeah,
Like, he's not going to shy away from it. He owns up to it as he should and keeps moving on and making himself better from it.
you're human. A lot of people, well, I can't think of a lot of mistakes I made in life. You know what? You full of you know what? We all every day. People that say that are probably the ones that make the most mistakes. Okay, we
Yes.
we all make mistakes in life, and it's about overcoming those mistakes and just doing the very best you can, putting yourself in a position to help yourself, help the community, help your family, everything. So, and when I go thinking about who we book for sports talk, and man, in the deep summer days is difficult. A lot of people on vacation, a lot of people moving about. It's to try to get. If I was listening, who I would want to listen to.
Right.
And I tell this to people all the time, and no matter what profession you're in, the best advice I can give you, be a great listener. Because I think we have a tendency in our lives, especially younger people, they want to talk, don't want to listen. And I think the one thing you become really good at, you become a good listener, you become really good at what you do, because you're hearing what other people are telling you. Some of the best questions I get, and it drives Bobby crazy when we work together, is that I don't come with a script. I have a few questions in my mind what I'm going to ask. The best questions I have is off of comments somebody makes back to me when I'm talking to
Yep.
them.
I have no script for this show. I'm telling you that right now. I the only thing I had scripted was the first two questions I asked you about crawfish and king cake.
And so
That was it.
I do stuff with Greg Cosell for NFL Films. And Greg's come on the show quite a few times. In fact, I actually tried to get him for tomorrow, but he's traveling. And he was like, how can you do these shows with no script? And I'm like, because I'm used to it. And he'll always burst out, oh, come on. I was like, no, it's just the way I operate, Greg. And but I think listening is a great part of it. And that listening part helps you in any profession that you involve with, listening to other people who have been successful. They can tell you certain things. If you stay in the same platform as you're going to be in that platform.
Right.
Always try to listen to somebody who's made it and their story and how they got to be there. And hey, sometimes it is a lightning strike.
Yep.
Sometimes it's also that lady or that man is busting their butt to get to
Right.
where they're there. And they tell you about, the difficulties and the good and the bad with everything. And just try to be yourself. And that's all I've ever told anybody. Just try to be yourself.
Man, great advice. Definitely life advice for everybody in the chat. So we talked a lot about Ed O. I want to talk about your other running mate. Give me your best Bobby Abear Cajun Cannon story.
Whew. I don't know if I can tell some of them. I'd get in, but man, Bobby, he's something else. Him and I ride in Mad Hatters in Metairie every year, and man, we have a good time. I'll put it to you that way. And he always got some story that he tells me the next day that I know didn't happen. But for whatever reason, in his head, it happens. One of the fun stories actually happened the last day of Saints OTAs. And he's always telling me, Mike, I'm going to watch this part. Go watch. And he's always wants me to go watch the lineman because he knows. He's like, no, nobody's watching the lineman. So, but in OTAs, we can't see it. But this time he was watching the special teams. And so I went watch the receivers catch the ball. And they run them down a straight line. And there's a guy in front of them who throws his hands up like this.
Right.
Ball high. They high catch the ball and come down, take one step, two steps, throw the ball right back. I see Jordan Tyson in that line. So I'm like, hell with that. I'm going to watch. And he gets in line. Guy throws his hands up. Tyson gets up in the air, high points it, comes down, takes two steps, kind of does like a little wiggle, throws the ball. Does it a second time. So at this time, I hear Bobby calling me. He was like, hey. He said, what about Tyson? I was like, come see. So he walks down there and we have to wait one, and then it's Tyson's turn again. I said, watch Jordan Tyson. And so he gets in line and the ball's really high this time. But he gets up in the air, he high points it. And again, it's not like you're going up against a defender, but that guy does have his hands up in the air in front of him. He catches the ball, he comes down, kind of does like a little juke, throws the ball back. He looks at me. Man, he don't look hurt to me. Everybody burst out laughing. Man, he don't look hurt to me. And so he turned around and walked back. So I said it on the air. The text line lit up. And so he said, man, get Bobby to say it. So I was like, okay. So I said, Bobby, tell him what you told me when we went to watch Jordan Tyson that one day. And he's like, what? Man, he ain't hurt. I ain't hurt. Not, if you can jump that high and the way he landed and kind of give a little chip, man, he ain't hurt. He ain't hurt. They just taking they taking it easy with it. But I mean, everybody that was around us, I mean, they all burst out laughing. And he comes up with some stories that's unbelievable. And he started talking about days at Northwestern, not so much with the Saints. Jim Moore was a pretty strict guy. When he went to Atlanta and they had Jerry Glanville, and then we get Jerry to come on with us, Coach Glanville and him. Oh my God. You know, they would stay up all night on a Wednesday, and Jerry would fine you if you left the bar room like one of the earliest guys.
What?
He would fine you. It was like, you here to bond with your teammates. And he said, I'm fining you. You left too early. So Bobby, that was Bobby's excuse that, man, I stayed there till like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I was like, is that an excuse you're trying to sell me? Or is that, no, Mike, it's reality. It's reality. Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I could only imagine what the conversations are like with Bobby off air.
When John Ferrucci was running the Silver Slipper, he'd come every once in a while, do the little segment with us. And he finally said it on the air, though he had told me off the air numerous times. Mike, what y'all do on the air? Yeah, it's good. What y'all do off the air and talk? Like he said, I wouldn't have enough money to pay
I'm
to
telling
hear
you.
some of the stuff that you guys come up with. He said is unbelievable. And he's like, okay, you say something, and then Bobby's got to tell a story that's better than that. And then if you got another story, then he's got a story better than that. So this was 2 years ago, Mike Hoss, and they like to have the play-by-play guy along with Bobby do the coaches show. I'm just a fill-in.
Right.
And so, Hoss called me one day. He was like, man, I got to do this particular deal. I can't do it. Fill in for me tonight. Oh, okay. So Bobby has two questions, and then he looks at me. He's like, you ready? And, so I asked the coach, well, I hadn't finished the question. He butt in to finish the question. So this was the last year of Coach Payton. So Coach was pretty good about it. And then I went to ask the second question. And again, I'm used to it. He kind of clips me and says, Coach, this is what, like what Mike's talking about. And he's like, Bobby, he said, let me talk to Mike. And he was like, I was like, yeah. He said, Mike, I don't know what they're paying you, but they should pay you a hell of a lot more money to put up with this. But he said, hey, Barry, we'll give you this. You're the only guy that can ask a question, answer a question, and defend himself before I even get a chance to answer, which I thought was a great Sean Payton.
Mike, I heard that live on the radio, and I was in my car. I pulled over crying, laughing, because it is the perfect way to describe being interviewed.
I told Coach, I'm used to it. I'm used to it, Coach. And he just burst out laughing. So they had his going away party and everything. He did tell that story to everybody about it. And so, but the one thing with Coach, Dennis Allen, he would agree with Bobby like 99% of the time. He never confrontational with Bob. Kellen Moore is a get along guy. He's
right.
But him and Sean, man,
they used to have moments.
They got it pretty good about it. And, and then Sean would sort of soft soap it a little bit with him. We go to practice and, Bobby, you know how I am. I was kind of aggravated that day. No, Coach, I'm aggravated every day.
Well, look, I want to ask you this. Let's talk about this for a second. It's been a minute since the vibe around the state has been high for both LSU and the Saints. What do you think? What are your expectations for LSU in year one and for Tyler Shuck and the Saints? Not necessarily in year one, but in their full this being his full off season, going into a season as the starter for the Saints. What are your expectations for both of these programs?
The Saints don't like to say it, but they're still rebuilding. It's the dreaded
Mhm.
R word of rebuild. You're in the NFC South. Okay. So there is no pull away team here. None.
Right.
So do you have a shot if you can get to 9-8? Maybe so. I still think they're a year away from piecing it all together. But Tyler Shuck gives you that one little word that keeps the heart hope.
Yes.
Pull some games out that maybe we have not seen since the Drew Brees time frame. And so I think they'll be right at that 500 mark, 8-9, 9-8. Is it good enough to win the division? I don't know, but he's gotten better. The key this year is the development of the 2025 draft class, because I go back. I was a kid watching year one and everything, but that 81 draft class was great. 2006, terrific. 2017,
2017.
unbelievable year. This has a chance to be talked about in the same realm of those three. When you get your starting left tackle, when you get the potential of a really good quarterback, Jonas Sanker has played much better than I thought he would in year one. Quincy Riley, I knew was a player. So he's certainly going to be one of the starting cornerbacks. Vernon Broughton, we'll see what happens with Vernon and how well he can progress. But now with Christian Miller, you got two young guys in the middle because you got some age there with
Right.
Davick and Nathan Shepard. So it's going to be right at that 8-9 mark deal for me. But the hope, because of Shuck, is there. Now, people say, well, they have a year to watch him, and that's true. And I've seen a lot of guys not being able to counter move once they get a beat on you. The other part about it is the quarterback has another year to watch.
Here to watch you.
And so he's gotten better, and now you're trying to stop him. So there's a lot of optimism because of that, and also because of the NFC South, there's no take charge team.
Right.
With LSU, that first month is going to be something to see because Clemson, they're not as good as they've been in the past, but they still formidable.
Still Clemson.
Louisiana Tech, you're going to get a W there. The Ole Miss game, you could not live up to the hype of what's going to happen in that game. And even if you come up with a win, the next week,
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, and it's the trap game for you. And you have not matched up well against Texas A&M. Just like I think the game after Ole Miss plays LSU is Florida. You don't think John Summerall is setting up that trap, and you got to play it in Gainesville. In the swamp. It's a different story. So I think LSU, if Sam Leavitt stays healthy, I would look at them as a 9-win football team. I think that, and then toward the end, when you play in Alabama and Texas, toward the end is difficult. Arkansas is always tough. It always seems to be a dogfight, no matter how good you are. It seems
Yes.
like with them. But if you can get to 9, my thing in the SEC is which team gets to 10.
Yes.
Because I would say if I had money, and if I was a gambler, I should say, if I was a gambler, I would say Georgia is the team to get the double digits.
They got the easiest schedule.
And got experience on defense.
And an experienced quarterback.
They can run the football. Gunnar Stockton, I think, will throw the football better this year. I was impressed with him at Manning Passing Academy. He threw the football better than I really was. I was surprised how well he threw it. I think they've got a shot to get to the double digits. Everybody else, though, because of how the schedule lays out, you could see a host of teams 9-3.
Yes.
Okay, who are you going to pick and who are you going to let not in to the deal. Where I think Ole Miss is still going to be very good. You know, when you got Trinidad Chambliss and you got Kawan Lacey, they've recruited well. They still formidable. I look at Texas; they have more talent than anybody else in the SEC. But when's the last time Texas has overachieved?
Under Steve Sarkisian, never.
Vince Young's years, and that ain't yesterday. Okay, that ain't yesterday. There's been a lot of coaches since Coach Brown, and I don't think A&M is going to be as good this year as we saw a year ago. I thought, man, they had an opportunity. I really did.
Yes,
but it slipped away for them. So I think that there will be a host of teams in that 9-win area, and who gets in, who doesn't. So the one thing is, Lane can recruit, he can motivate people very well, and I just feel the excitement even before the game even starts of how much LSU fans really think that they got an opportunity this year. And I think even though the schedule is difficult early and it's sort of difficult late, in the middle of the schedule is where you can make some hay.
Right.
That LSU's got that opportunity to get to 9, maybe stretch a 10-win season. But I would say 9 is what you're looking for. And if you 9-3 at LSU and you can get into the playoffs, LSU fans
wide open from there. I'm not gonna lie. I think we end up winning a game we're not supposed to. And
you could also lose the game that you're not supposed to.
Right. It go like and here are my 2 games. I think it's Texas A&M. You can win that game that you're not supposed to, and Kentucky is that game that you could lose that you're not supposed to.
Yeah, the Kentucky quarterback, and I got a chance to talk to him, and he's got to prove it to me that he can. We'll see what happens with Kentucky. The scary game for me is always Arkansas because of the fact that you've had some difficulties with the Razorbacks and timing of it. You always kind of caught them right after Alabama, the emotional deal there. With Alabama, who's going to play quarterback for them? They could not run football worth a lick last year. They're a team with a lot of unknowns for me.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not afraid of Alabama because of all the questions surrounding them. The line of scrimmage is a question. You lose a guy like Caden Proctor. The defense was a question. You just replace your defensive coordinator. Your quarterback, the most important position on the field, is a question. Is Ryan Williams, is he solving his I'm going to drop everything except the common cold situation? Your running back, is that situation resolved? You replaced your offensive coordinator. Alabama has a lot of questions coming into this season.
But they're good up front defensively. And see, that gives them an opportunity.
And
this is the most question marks I can remember on an Alabama team.
Yes.
And some coaching kind of questions, what's going to happen, the quarterback play, the inability to run the football, which
that's shocking.
Last time Alabama difficulties running the ball.
Yeah, that was absolutely shocking for me to see. You know, like an Alabama team struggle to move the ball with running backs. Like, that's weird. And you know, since you brought it up, and shout out to Randy in the chat, we're thinking alike right now. The Manning Passing Academy, who stood out to you the most?
CJ Carr from Notre Dame, CJ Bailey from North Carolina State.
I love CJ Bailey.
CJ, I tried to get 2 reporters. They were like, who you going to interview? I said, this guy right here. So who is that? I said, CJ Bailey from North Carolina State. All they did was, like, never heard of him. Okay. Go interview who you want to interview then. So I went to interview him. We talked for quite some time. In fact, actually, I talked to Wilson Alexander, who's on 3 Sports. I had him on today. And he was like, how good of an interview is he? I said, he's really good. He's really good. And so we stood up, and he was like, man, I hate to tell you this, coach, but man, I've heard you for years. And I was like, oh, thank you. No problem. He's like, take a picture. I was like, yeah. And man, he stood up next to me. I was like, whoa.
Tall.
He's like 6'6" and change. And I'm like, whoa, you a big dude. But he's got a whip for an arm. CJ Carr, to me, having watched him at Notre Dame last year, when you got 2 first-round pick running backs,
Mm-hmm.
you're not sort of given keys to the car that you can go wherever you want because
Right.
somebody drive. To watch him throw the ball, how confident he was. His mechanics are really, really good. He's physically much more gifted than I thought he was watching him. Even though I was impressed, he knew where to go with the ball. A lot of it was short stuff. I think you'll see them extend that this year. The best story is Drew Mestamaker from Oklahoma State, where he walked on at North
In
Texas
North
as
Texas as a punter.
punter. He never played quarterback in high school. He was not a starting quarterback. He was a starting safety punter. So his coach had told me the story that I was looking for a punter, and I was hoping I could get one as a walk-on. He said, "Man, here we got this 6'6" quarterback, defensive back who played a little bit of quarterback, but he was not the starter. So we invite him on as a walk-on, and he decides to take it. Nobody else was really after him." And he said, "We saw him punt, and he was impressive, but he said then we saw him throwing the ball." He said, "One of my coaches said, 'Man, you in the wrong position group. You come with the quarterbacks.'" And he lit it up last year. I do know Tulane gave him a lot of problems. They did a lot of stuff to try to fool him
Yeah,
into
pre-snap
thinking
reads.
certain areas were open and he threw the ball in coverage. And that's just a little bit of a lack of inexperience.
Yeah.
But he's got wheels on him. He can move around really, really well. And the other young man I was really impressed with, and he told me a story I didn't know, and that's Camario Taylor from Mississippi State. And Camario was one of the top 5 players in the state of Mississippi. So he tells me, I grew up an LSU fan, always wanted to play for LSU. I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Did they recruit you?" "Nah." He said, "They recruited me and they offered." I said, "Well, why didn't you go?" He said, "They didn't want me to play quarterback." I was like, "What?" He said, "No." He said, "They wanted me to play safety." I said, "Well, who made that decision?" He said, "Well, I guess it was Brian Kelly." He said, I don't really know, but he said, "I grew up an LSU fan, loved LSU, and I wanted to go there, but they wanted me to play safety." I said, "No." So I said, "Man," I said, did Ole Miss recruit you hard?" He was like, "Nope, not at all." He said, I talked to Coach Kiffin once. That was it." I'm like, "Okay, you're one of the top 5 players in the state of
In the
Mississippi,
state.
and Kiffin's not recruiting you at quarterback, and neither is Brian Kelly." Somebody made a boo-boo here, but man, he's strong. He can throw a really nice pass. He talked to me about, I understood last year when I was playing the mistakes I was having, because I told him, I said, "It didn't seem to be off the waggle, your bad throws." He was like, I said, "You're right, coach." He said, "I was trying to escape pressure, wasn't setting my feet. It's the worst
Mm-hmm.
thing I threw." So he said, "This year, I've really worked hard on, once I get driven out of the pocket one way or another, set my feet, throw it." So he said, I learned that. And he said, I know, he said, "What you said is correct." He said, I wasn't setting my feet. But he was very impressive, Mario Taylor. I really thought a lot of him as a player. But again, this story about LSU, I had not heard. And then I didn't hear the other one about Kiffin not recruiting him hardly at all. It was just a token type of recruit.
I can't believe that.
So it goes to show you, hey, you can do all this and you think you know everything about a player, and yet sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's crazy. So let's make that a juxtaposition, right? Like we talk about Kamario Taylor not being as highly recruited, but turning out to be a nice quarterback, a promising prospect. What about a guy like Peyton Pop Houston? Why does he jump out to you? I know why he jumps out to me.
His accuracy skills right off the bat. I can tell
Yes.
he throws a very,
He-
what I call a sweet pass. It's
It's
easily catchable. It's on target. It's
and it's on
rhythmatic.
time.
And, for a high school kid, he's not very tall. But he's very rhythmatic with his throws. He's very accurate. He sees the field extremely well. Quick process, you can tell the intelligence part of it. And so I think Kiffin saw that and was like, okay, I see the big 6'5" guy, okay, in Baton Rouge. And he's a playmaker. Man, he got some wheels on him. He's a little bit erratic with his passes, but I think Pop fits what I do. And that is something Lane has always been a big architect for, is that I want a guy that I feel comfortable running my offense. That's why you would pick a guy like Trinidad Chambliss from Ferris State. I mean, come on. When you look at Trinidad, he's 5'11", a little bit more. He's not 200 pounds. He's just look at the playmaking skills he's got, the ability to throw off the run, his accuracy skills, his ability to pick up second and third reads downfield. He does that extremely well. But I think with Lane, he likes the quarterback that will extend the play, and he's accurate once he extends.
And then not just that. He also loves a quarterback that's not going to put the ball in jeopardy too. It's one thing to extend the play. It's another thing to put the ball in harm's way. The first 2 games in Ole Miss's season last year, Austin Simmons threw 4 interceptions. Trinidad Chambliss threw 3 on 445 attempts.
My first interview, Manning Passing Academy 2025, was Austin Simmons. And so I'm 3 weeks or 2.5, whatever, from knee replacement surgery. So Charlie had come with me. He's like I'll help you around. And so he was like, who you want to go to first? I saw this young man stand up from his chair. I said, him. And he was like, who is it? I said, Austin Simmons from Ole Miss. He's like, never heard of him. I was like, you will.
Right.
I went to talk to him and told me, yeah, he said, I just finished graduating from Ole Miss, 19 years old. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty good, Austin.
That's impressive.
But I asked him, what's the one thing you trying to maybe overcome? He said, my tendency to put a ball in heavy traffic. That told you what happened early on.
Yep.
He still was fighting that. He didn't have a lot of experience. He played a little bit behind Jackson Dart, but didn't have a lot of experience. Trinidad had a lot of experience. A lot. So that does matter. But to see him, and Deuce had told me to tell him, if I was your parents, I would have told you to play baseball instead. And he's like, man, I was on the baseball team, and but he said, man, I love football. He said, tell Mr. Deuce, and I love football. That's why I'm playing football, not throwing a baseball. But he got a rocket. That ball comes out of there, and you can almost hear it. I mean,
who does Trinidad remind you of as a quarterback?
Well, there's only a few of them like that. And the best I ever saw at Manning was Matt Stafford with Georgia. He threw in the throwing sessions, which we used to have on the Thursday, he threw 25 passes to receivers that were from LSU, Nicholls State, Southeastern, Southern, Grambling, Tulane, Southern Miss. Ball never touched the ground. I never saw that before, because normally you get a guy come in there and he's not used to the receivers. He's going to overthrow him, underthrow him, whatever. Ball never touched the ground. He was unreal. On the flip of that, the one guy who threw like I've never seen a guy throw a football before was Josh Allen from Wyoming. We had a tropical storm that had passed, so he's throwing against the wind. There's a picture Parker Waters sent me, and I had gotten up from the golf court. Archie and Little Arch are in the golf court, and my cameraman is there, along with Rick Gailey, longtime high school coach in this area. He passed away. And Archie tells me, he says, tell your cameraman to be careful. I was like, what's going on? We had the 20-yard line, and they throwing from the end zone the other way. And I mean, you could feel that wind hitting you. I was like, man, ain't no way he's going to get the ball this far. No way. Sure enough, he launched one down the sidelines, and we were all, watch out. The ball hits the top of the golf court. The wind caught it at the end and kind of twirled it. He threw that ball over 80 yards and hit the top of that golf court. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So we do air it out on the Saturday. It's pouring down rain. Josh Allen is the leader of the group to say, it's not lightning. Let us go throw. Archie, let's just wait a few minutes. Finally, it had stopped raining hard, still drizzling. Josh picks up a wet football, and he is about the 10-yard line and launches it 70 yards. That ball was sopping wet. And I was like, whoa, that is something. Now, he was highly erratic the 3 days at Manning. He was hit and miss. But those two things he did is etched in my mind, because he had us all sort of ducking for cover, because that ball's coming straight at us. And we thought the ball was going to get into the golf court. And so Archie just kind of peels back, but it hit the top of the golf court. And to see him throw a wet football, and it was like all those other quarterbacks were, we got no shot if he's throwing a wet football like that.
Right. It's over with.
And this was before Josh was Josh. Okay. Right. And he just big lumberjack Bill guy, happy-go-lucky. First thing he tells me when I interviewed him was, man, I love all the food down here, and I've eaten stuff. I didn't even know what it was. But he said it really tasted good. And so I asked him, how much you weighing? He was like right now? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm about 256 pounds. I'm like, okay.
What?
56 when he came to Manning.
And to see him turn into what he has been has just been a remarkable story, man. Like that.
To see him move, and you could see a little bit of that at Manning, the way he can move. You could see it, but man, and he's not 256 now. I think he's more 235, 240.
Yeah, he
but just like the off season, and he had eaten pretty good for a couple of days. He had told me, man, food's good here, man, it's so good here, and the people are so nice. And it was so funny. We had Sam Darnold. He came in, and he knew Coach O, and so Coach O had told me, hey, tell Darnold I said hello, okay? Ask him about him as a linebacker, okay? So and there was a group of people around Sam Darnold. He goes to leave. They blew the whistle. No more interviews. So I walk up to him. I said, Sam, I introduced myself. I said, man, I know Coach O well. He told me to ask you about when he was recruiting you as a linebacker. Man, he had never recruited me as no linebacker. He always says that. He said, I played linebacker as a sophomore, though. And so we start talking. And all he could tell me was no. I was like, you mind with an interview? He's like, no, let's sit down. Let's do it. And so we did the interview. First thing he tells me, man, first time I've ever been down here, humidity is unbelievable. It's so hot. But he said, man, people here are so nice. He said, nice everybody is to me. He said, man, growing up where I grew up at, there's some nice people and also people that, ain't quite as nice to you. But he said, man, everybody here is so nice. He was such a good kid. And you could tell immensely gifted as a passer. But I'm glad to see what happened for him last year.
Man.
He could have easily said, listen, I'm not supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to give interviews after they blow the whistle. And he was like, let's do it. Baker did the exact same thing. I will say, Baker did the exact same thing with me.
Really?
Either.
Huh. I love Baker Mayfield. I love Sam Darnold. I'm glad that they're both having success. Given especially how easily people are just trying to push those guys to the side, man. Those are ballers. And when you look at guys like that, it makes me look at Trinidad Chambliss, and college sports is in a weird place. But I, going into this draft, thought that Trinidad was at least a second round pick. Could have pushed into the first round, especially if you see a Ty Simpson getting drafted 13 overall to the Rams.
I think he would have went late in round one. I do believe that. I told him that at Manning camp, and he was like, I still have a mission. I still have a mission at Ole Miss. So, that he left a lot of money on the table, but so did Dante Moore.
Yes.
A ton of money on the table. But I do know one thing: Phil Knight's checks don't bounce at Nike. And well taken care of.
So, given where this next group of quarterbacks are going to be, do you think Trinidad could possibly play himself back into the later part of round one?
Yeah,
2027 class.
I do think he will. This is a great group. It's maybe the best Manning Passing Academy group I've ever seen for quarterbacks.
Wow.
I can't compare it to another group. When and Dante couldn't come because he was in Japan with his coach. The Miami quarterback was
Darian Mensah.
Archie invited, never got a reply back from him.
Oh
no! Sometime it happens. Josh Hoover wanted to come here. Former TCU quarterback who was at Indy, but Cignetti's not. He didn't let Mendoza come a year ago, so he wasn't. Hoover. No. Mendoza wanted to come. He told Archie, "I want to be there," but my coach says no. So Archie said, "Well, let me give him a call." And he was like, "Coach, if I let him do it, then I'll have to let everybody else." He was like, "It's just a couple of days, and I can't let him do it." So he didn't. Wasn't there. DJ Lagway was a similar thing with Coach Aranda. That I want you to work with the receivers. I want you to work with the receivers this weekend. So you got to fight that. It happened to JJ McCarthy too. Coach Harbaugh. Coach Harbaugh was the exact same way. So you got coaches that feel as though, if you miss that couple of days, it's going to hurt you one way or another. So like Archie said, hey, listen, I'm never going to argue with them. It's their call, and satisfied with the guys that we have here. We got a great group of guys. Like he said, as long as you call me back and tell me, hey, look, I can't do it, or I got other plans. But Mensah didn't do it. Do it.
Especially considering you got your start here in Tulane.
And he came to Manning as a Tulane quarterback. Yeah. I interviewed him that day.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. His story itself is crazy too. So
he's making money too.
He's making money too, man. Speaking of money, I think LSU might have one of the best administrators in the nation, in Dr. Wade Roos. What are your thoughts on the hiring of President Roos and the impact that he can have on LSU and on academics and athletics, given how intelligent he is, how gifted he is for this?
Okay, there's about a 10-year gap between Wade and I. And Wade grew up on the Bayou, just like I did. He went to South Lafourche. He went to McNeese State as a scholarship wide receiver. He was pretty good in high school. And so he knew the athletic part. And then we kind of lost touch. And next thing you know, he's telling me he's working at the Chicago Stock Exchange.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's pretty good. And then we kept in touch. And then he tells me, I got a shot to be the president at McNeese. He takes a job there. He's like, hey, I got one thing I always wanted to do. I said, what's that? He said, I want to go on WWL. So, got it. When you want to come on tomorrow? He's like, well, not tomorrow, but the next day. It's like, okay. So I was able to get him on. We got him on 3 or 4 times. He talked about economics, talked about money, that sort of thing. And then I started to hear it from other people that he might be the new president at LSU. And so I did speak to him. He was confident, but he was like, Mike, there's a lot of different things involved here to get the job. But he's got a very fertile mind for money. Um, he loves the academic part of things. That to me was a little new for him, but he enjoys that part, the academic part, and stressing maybe we have to do different things from a school standpoint, curriculum wise, to get people ready for the jobs that could open up here with the LNG industry and other things. And so I think he'll do a great job there. Again, he knows the money angle very, very well. And so I think Wade will do a great job. He's relentless. He ain't going to stop. I mean,
No.
he's a guy that's always the mind clicking to try to come up with new ideas. And like you said, Mike, not every idea is going to work. But if we can get the majority of them to work, then we've hit pay dirt here. I think he's a great addition to LSU. Same as Verge, who I've known for a while, and Verge, he was always the number 2 guy, and now running things. And Heath Schroyer, I knew when he was a coach at McNeese, the basketball coach, and sort of doing both jobs. He was both the athletic director
and the coach.
And I know the head basketball coach that used to be there too, and Will Wade, who's at LSU. Will and I, we spent a couple of days together talking and everything else. But we're looking at what potentially could be ground changing for LSU, and I do think. While people a lot of times will tell me, I wish you would talk more about economics and how people invest their money and that sort of thing. Got a little bit of certainly a background with that. And I'm like, okay, they got people to do that. They still got people don't get it. My thing
Right.
is sports. If something happens one day, they want me to go on about money management and about securing certain things and retirement and how to invest your money. Hey, I'm up for it, but right now I'm doing sports. And so with Wade, I think he'll do a great job. He really will. And it was a great addition to LSU to bring him on.
I think so too, man. And I'm really intrigued to see what this new idea that they're going to have, that they're going to be showcasing here next month with the top 40 investors that they have. I hope it's not, a private equity type of situation.
I
And
doubt seriously that's going to be the
and
case.
that's exactly what I was about to say. I don't think it's that, given the fact that we're seeing so many other schools already tapping into that. And the way that the message was worded was it's something cutting edge, a first of its kind.
So it wouldn't be private equity. That when I read that, my thing is private equity has been doing at other schools already. So this
Exactly.
edge, you're not the
Exactly.
first to do it.
Exactly. Thank you so much for reaffirming my thoughts and beliefs.
No problem, brother.
So what would you do? Like, how would you help sustain college athletics right now to, the rising cost of NIL deals, the coaches' salaries, the calendar's a mess. What would you do to help
The
financially, at least?
calendar has to change. That would be the first thing that I think
Yes.
to be done across the board. Secondly, we do live in an age. This isn't my grandmother, grandfather's world, or my mom and dad's world. And if they had money, why don't you give it away to charity or something? Not you deal with that when I'm gone. Today you have what I think it's 2,400 billionaires in the they're more apt to give their money as long as they can see where that money's going. And so LSU has alumni all over the world. I was made aware of that at a pregame show at Acme Oyster House. And this gentleman walks in, he waves to me. How you doing, Mike? I was like, fine. How are you doing, sir? He said, great. He's like, first time I ever get to meet you. I was like, awesome. I said, so I hope I didn't disappoint. He was like, man, I listen to you all the time. He said, I get it off the Odyssey app. Okay, interesting. He sits down. His wife comes in. I would say a teenager, which turned out to be a son. They walk in. He walks in. And so the waitress tells me, you know who that is? I was like, not a clue. And she said, he's from Baton Rouge, did not go to LSU. He's one of the biggest football fans for LSU they have. He lives in California. She told me his name. I was like, okay. So I do like everybody else. I Googled it. Whoa. We're at like $8 billion. So Herb was, Mike, what you going to do? I'm like, man, I tell the waitress, I said, give me his bill. And she was like, Mr. Mike, he can pay for that bill. I was like, no. I said, give it to me. She was like, okay. So they stayed there a little while. Saw a couple people come walk over to him and talk. He gets up and he was like, Mike, you didn't have to do that. I was like, no. I said, man, you travel from California here all the time? He's like, not every time. But he said, I go to about 4 LSU games a year. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. He said, I don't have a lot of hobbies in life. And said, I have a couple of charities I'm deeply involved with in another charity at LSU. And I'm like, okay, this is before the Texas A&M game. So I said, they passed the collection for you? And he was like, Mike, let me tell you something. He said, if Brian Kelly's here next year, they will not get a dime from me. He shook hands, gave me his card. He's like, hey, anytime, if you need something from me, you give me a call. I was like, okay. I said, man, I appreciate it. I said, great to see you. He's like, I don't want to age you, but he said, I can remember when you were doing sports talk with Hap Glaude on WWL, and Tim Brando was in New Orleans too. And I'm like, damn, we are getting old. He was like, much younger. He said, but man, Dad, he loved sports talk radio. And so here's a guy who's worth $7 or $8 billion. He's living in California. He's in the tech world. And, he's giving his money to LSU. It's a new kind of breed of individual. If they can see their money and where it's going, they're willing to give it to you. And so I think part of that is what Wade is going to think of. Part of it is that we're dealing with another generation or two that are more willing to give up their money while they're alive than wait till they pass away. And I think he wants to bring that and also sort of reach out. And a lot of people got upset because, the tag on the uniform, is an Australian company. Okay, I was in the business for 29 years. I dealt with them in different deals in Louisiana. I dealt with them. I dealt with them. And then they came in. When I heard that they were going to Lake Charles, I knew one thing: they had money. And so, I think the outreach, for some people, they're not from Louisiana. It's not a Louisiana company. I don't want their money. You better rethink that. You better rethink that real quick. So, it's all a financial game. I'm sure Wade has a very good plan of action financially to bring in money. He would not go to the 40 biggest donors if he did. He would not. He would not.
Especially having a clear vision too, because you got to have something to sell. You got to have something to sell
and sell it big. And he's, he could sell he could sell the ice cubes to the Alaskans.
Right. So water so
I
well.
give him a lot of credit for down the Bayou boy. He's done pretty good, and we always laugh about he's like they always bring up you and Bobby and Coach O, and he's like, hey, I'm in that too, right? I said, hey, you're in the clan. It's Will Bundy. You all part of
I'll tell you a funny true story. When I heard about the Woodside announcement and the value of that deal, I'll never forget where what I was doing. I stopped. I put my phone down. I was at work. I put my phone down. And I said, you know what? Thank you, God, for blessing a company to bless LSU with a $54 million patch deal to take care of a $54 million buyout. So that's a blessing. And then you you see what the Big 12 just did with Monster energy drinks,
Yep.
signing a $20 million conference deal across 3 sports for every team. And it's like these two are not the same. Like, how? That's a great deal for Monster Energy. Great deal for them.
It's a great deal. Also, a great deal, for the conference. And so I think you will see that more cooperation with companies in the United States, also outside. I got to talk to the vice president of Woodside, and in my talks with her, I wanted her to come on. She was like, "Oh, Michael, I can't." She says, "I'm flying to India to do a deal for natural gas." But she says, my assistant will do it for her. And she said, she's an LSU gal. And sure, we were able to get her on. But the cheese, so to speak, she was headed to India to do a natural gas deal.
That's crazy.
We live in that world. A lot of people don't like it, but we in a global society.
Exactly. Mike, I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I've kept you for almost 2 hours. I can sit here and talk to you for hours and hours and hours on end, man. Look, and I'm going to just say this. It is a lifelong goal of mine to be on WWL. If you ever need a guest at any point in these dog days of summer,
I will call you.
Don't be afraid to hit me up and put me on the roster.
Okay. Normally, Steve does most of the booking, but then if it's somebody maybe he's had some issues with that don't reply back quickly, he's like, they reply back quick to you and they don't tell you no. So don't worry about it. And so I'll definitely get in touch with you. Love to do a spot with you.
Absolutely, man. Look, this has been fantastic. This is not going to be the last time I have you on here either. And also, before I get in trouble, my managing editor, Tina Howell, over at SB Nation.
Tina for years. Yes.
She definitely told me to tell you she said hello and she appreciates you. And Tina is absolutely amazing. We're doing great things for Over in the Valley Shook covering LSU and also for Canal Street Chronicles covering the Saints. So, she's grooming me to be a writer, helping me become a better podcaster. And
okay, here's the crazy thing. Now I've seen Tina, a few times at Saints camp and all, but I go to a concert and, my wife came with me. We got all kind of people coming over. Hey, hello. We went to see Zebra. Statute of limitations passed, but I went to see Zebra on the Bayou before I was 18 years old. So Felix is always like, Mike, you gonna get me? How can I get you in trouble? I'm almost 66 years old. Come on, do it now. And so I'm talking to different people now. Turning around, we talking and everything. I feel this tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Tina and her husband. They sitting right behind the Zebra. Abear was supposed to come that night, but he had a signing event in Chicago, so I didn't get in any trouble bringing my wife to Zebra. That's a possibility. Oh yeah.
Mike, look, it's definitely been great, man. I can't wait to share that story with Tina tomorrow. And look, like I said, this will not be the last time you and I get together. And especially once the season comes, definitely gonna touch base with you. so we can get you on here and get some thoughts on some of the games as the games get rolling.
A pleasure. Thank you, AB. Appreciate it, buddy.
No, thank you, Mike. And are you gonna be on tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm on every night but Friday.
Gotcha. Well, I'll definitely be tuning in tomorrow. You and Steve are doing an amazing thing over there. I know Bobby's in his off season right now, so
He's always off season. Like I just got a from Coach Valdez from St.
from
Aug,
St. Aug, yeah.
one of our guests, Coach Robert. I mean, I knew him for years when he was at St. James, and I was trying to get him last week, and he was like, "Mike, I would never beg off to you, but it's my wedding anniversary, so I got to share that." I was like, "Man, ain't no problem, ain't no problem."
That's a good reason. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. Well, Mike, look, thank you, everybody in the chat. Absolutely loved you. Thank you so much, man. Have a great evening. Sorry for keeping you up late. And y'all, please go follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Detillier. Please lock in on WWL on the Odyssey app. Listen to Mike Monday through Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m. every day. And then on Fridays, too, Mike fills in for the coaches show whenever Mike Hoss can't get there.
Once in a while.
Thank you, Mike. You take it easy, man.
Ready.
Everybody, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. It's been a fantastic show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I was not going to ask that, Pierce, even though I wanted to. That's such a, just one time. And so, look, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Almost a 2-hour stream. Mike, absolutely fantastic individual. Jono, thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you so much for the support, bro. Look, I was trying to catch you earlier on WWL, but I couldn't get there on time, man. I had to tap in late. Steven Young, thank you for being here, man. Look, great show. This was a fun show, man. This was a fun show. I just had to sit back and let Mike cook. When you have a great chef in the kitchen, you just let them serve the plate. You don't ask what's on the menu. You let them do what they do. Piercy says I qualify as a tax write-off, right? I mean, I think we all do. I'm charitable. This one was top 10, bro. Thank you, Piercy. Look, this one was a dream, legitimately a dream come true. I loved listening to Mike growing up as a kid, as an adult. Like what he said about listening to people and forming interviews. You can tell when someone is doing that naturally in an interview. And listening to him and Bobby flow through conversations. Bobby flows through a conversation with himself first, and then he gets to the interview with the guest. But that's kind of how I picked up on my style from off of him, guys like him and Bobby Hebert, and like Piercy said, T-Bob, like that. That's the important thing, man. It builds that relationship and it builds that bond with you and the person that you have on. And this was probably one of my favorite interviews, bar none. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It's been an absolute blast. I cannot thank y'all enough for being here to support that. I hope y'all truly, 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 truly enjoyed it. Fonz, I just thought that you were behaving. You missed it? I'm sorry, you missed it, Fonz. Come on, Saints. Come on in. Thank you. Come on. Oh, man, look, thank you so much, man. I cover a lot of LSU. I cover the Saints a lot as well. And thank you for the sub. I'm definitely gonna be subscribing. I've seen a lot of the work that you guys are doing with the Come On In podcast and network over there, man. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for being here and subscribing, bro. It's definitely appreciative. P. Lee says it's not from the best time in my LSU fandom, but I can think of Bobby Hebert without thinking of his post. Oh my God, that was epic, and he has not been invited back since. Fawn says nope. I just got here and missed the whole interview. Look, it was a fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. Wasn't a lot of chat interactions because we all just got caught up in caught up in Mike Detillier, man. Like you just get caught up in it. So don't be mad. It's gonna be one of those things where you can just go back and listen to it. There's so much there. I'm gonna go back and listen to this again myself tomorrow because there's just it's so much that he shared, man. So much, man. Thank y'all so much for being. Look, Steven, be there. Be like, go do it. Go do that. Piercy says, sorry to hear that, Fonz. Give this one a watch. It was great. And Fonz says, like, really, do these people not know I have more important things to do, like TAT interviewing Mike? Really, really. Eat salads. Let the meat go for one day. Seriously, let butchers have a break, especially when Mike Detillier is on. It's the reason why we come at 8:15. Pause. It's the reason why we stream at 8:15. So that way we can let all the people get off work who have to do their paying job so they can have some type of entertainment when they're relaxing their feet. Let this man breathe. But sorry, Fonz. The beautiful thing about this stream is it has a rewind function. So please, y'all, if y'all think that anybody would enjoy this interview, I think we got to see a really good personable side of Mike Detillier. Share it. Send it to him. If anybody that you know loves Louisiana sports, loves just talking about life coming up, period, LSU, Saints, whatever it is, being in Houma, being down the bayou, stories about Coach O, hanging out with Bobby Hebert, share it to them. Send this interview to them. This is a gem. Shout out to my guy D. Well, thank you for being here, man. I didn't even know that you're in the chat, bro. Thank you for being here, man. Pierce said I watched the show from a movie theater before. My dog Piercely is a real one. I'm pinning that. Thank you. That's a real one. You know what? Piercely, you're gonna get a crown. You're gonna get a crown tomorrow. Wife was the boss today, no hours considered. You gotta ask for a PTO request. This is a special event. This is a special event tonight. You should have submitted your PTO request last night. All right. Well, look, no show tomorrow. Y'all keep me in your prayers. I gotta have a small procedure on my back tomorrow morning, but we will be back Thursday. Oh, what? You thought we were going easy on Thursday? No. Sherman Wilson will be joining us Thursday night at 8:15. So we go from the old legend to the young legend. We're going from the guy who's done it to the guy who's still paving his path. Super Bowl champion, Sherman, the man with the plan, Wilson. So let's get ready. Let's refresh. Let's regroup, right? Rough day today on this Tuesday. So we're going to get over hump day tomorrow. And then next thing you know, we bounce back Thursday show coming back fresh, hopefully pain-free from the back. That'll be great. Fawn says, I'm 2 days away from being on vacay, week-long beachfront condo. Bro, I have my vacation planned in August. Going to the Bahamas. I'm sorry, not in August. In November. Going to the Bahamas. I cannot wait. Piercy says you'll be good, AP. No worries, brother. Hey, look, good Lord got me. He got me this far. So, but every little bit of prayer can still be used, can still be used. Fawn says, I'll be here for that one. Stephen Young says, I'm going to St. Augustine Beach Saturday. Oh, man. Boy, you hacking me? You know where I am? What? We gonna have a little group meet up this weekend, fellas? That's what we doing, huh? I need photos from both of y'all from the beach. I wanna be there with y'all. I wanna live vicariously through y'all. How about that? Stevie Young says, nah, I'm in Alabama, but we always go to Anastasia Island. All right. I like that. I want to be there with y'all. So, and Fawn says I'll be calling in on Friday. And that's right. Don't forget, y'all get hyped. The call-in show is still Friday. That's gonna be our thing. Our last show of every week will be our call-in show. So Y'all get ready. Uh, come get active on Friday. Thursday we'll be back with Sherman Wilson, and Friday we'll have our call-in show. So y'all look forward to those things. The content's gonna keep contenting, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, gentlewomen, people, whatever pronouns you want to use. They, them, he, she, whatever. Thank you for being here. But the content's gonna keep contenting. Definitely appreciate it. Fawn says I'm going much more south than St. Augie. I hear that, bro. I hear that. Go deep. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Just go deep. Just go deep. Go deep. This has been a fantastic show. Absolutely amazing night. I'm literally on 10. I can't believe I was able to sit down and talk with Mike Detillier for almost 2 hours. Amazing time. Over 1,000 people viewing on Twitter right now. So thank y'all so much for the support. Like I said from the jump, my goal is to get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers before game one. Can't do that without y'all. Oh no pause. Go deep. Go deep. Can't do that without y'all. Plain and simple. Cannot do that without y'all. As a matter of fact, go deep dive. Shout out to my boys Zach and David. Cannot do that without y'all. Seriously. Need y'all to help me on that journey as much as possible. So please share. Share. Sub, like, comment, all the things that y'all are doing right now. Please continue to keep doing, because it only keeps motivating me to keep being consistent and bringing y'all fresh, different content covering the teams that we all love. Straight up. And you never know. I might be able to send Pearsley some Pepper's Farm cookies and Promised Land milk one day. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to send that to you for Christmas, Pearsley. How about that? Unc says, incredible interview. Thank you for joining, Unc. I absolutely appreciate it. Thank you. Pearsley says, I can't even AO that one. You shouldn't. That's the whole point. That's how I want to celebrate, man. I want to be able to. This is a community that we're building. So, yes. Get to that 1K, man. We start doing some things around here. I'll be able to send my boy some Promised Land milk and some Pepper Farm cookies. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to do that for Christmas, man. Santa got to have his treats. Got to cover my dog. So, Fawn says downfall is it's a week long with the Weiss family. Yes, my family too, but not really. 150 people? Well, 70. That's okay. I'm a very personable person. I like large groups of peoples in stadiums, not in vacations. I don't really vibe too well with family reunions. No. Like, give me a concert. I'm fine. Give me a large group of people at a single event, like for family. Uncomfortable. Like wedding receptions, I don't like them. Baby christening celebrations, I don't want it. Graduation parties, count me out. Yep, Arabic family, and I get along with like 15-ish. Why? Okay, Fonz, I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna send you something on Twitter that you just made me think of. I picture you in these events with people who make you mad. I'm gonna send that to you once I get done with the stream. Fawn says I'm definitely the black sheep because I have no filter and don't BS. No, yep, I get it. I understand it. Pearson says I just go for the food and sneak out with a plate of 3. Facts. That's exactly what you gotta. You gotta, you make your round, you say your hellos, your highs, and hey, I ain't seen you in forever. Yeah, me either. Blah blah blah. But you follow me on Facebook. You can see me over there. Cool. This, that, and the third. Who cooked this? Who made that? Oh, this fried chicken. Let me grab that. Baked macaroni. Who made that? Oh, okay. Who made the pasta? Oh, that's T. Lisa pasta. Okay. Who made the sweet potato pie? I'm gonna go ahead and get a piece of that. Get one of these rolls, some of these green beans. Who done put the potato salad? Wrap my plate. I'm gonna put this in the car. I'll be right back. And then once I put the plate in the car, I put myself in the car and I go be right back at my home. Yeah, the trick is to come back and help clean up. Then they just give you all the food. I don't even need all the food. I just need my plate or two and I'm good. Lots of Gator fans gonna be there, Fonz. I guess I'm not sure. Okay, I'm excited. Oh, I'm in the corner, crossed arms and staring at people. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I got to know who cooked what. If you got a cat, no thank you. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I gotta know who cooked. Unc says, gotta run this one back. Find it is number one of one. Thank you, Unc. It was great. It was great. Unc says, gotta run this one back, Fonz. And Piercy says, Swedish meatballs, pause, are always the best. You know what's crazy about the meatballs? You want to eat them on the way back home, but you can't because you don't want it to roll off the plate while you're driving. And you don't want it to make a mess in the car. So your mouth is just like savoring for a taste of the meatball. Pause. They are so good. If the Swedes didn't do anything right, they got meatballs right. And I don't even know if they're really from Sweden. Cats in the kettle. Get away, Stephen Young. What's going on, normal guy? Thank you for being back in here. Fawn says, hi, one of my wife's aunts gets pissed at me because she thinks she makes jambalaya, but it's red sauce. That's terrible. There's 4 UF fans, but most are Florida State fans. That's terrible. That's terrible. Piercy says, the plate, brother, I'm bringing the whole band. Piercy, let me find out you got real big back tendencies, man. Ugg says, my God, normal guy, all time great interview. That's almost as bad, Fonz. I'll take a Florida State fan over a Gator fan. I mean, they beat us 2 years in a row, but they're still largely irrelevant now. Haven't done anything in this decade. I mean, this century. Irrelevant. Look, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Absolutely enjoy every minute of it. Mike Detillier is the man, the legend. I am blessed. Jono Barnes is in the chat. Thank you so much, Jono, for being here, man. Y'all go follow my boy, Jono Barnes, and please support him. This more than a game. You know what I'm saying? Because it is. This is our life. This is our culture. I had an argument with somebody trying to tell me who from Metairie that Orleans Parish and New Orleans were the same thing. This is more than a game. More than a game. Don't come try to tread on my city and what we rep. Different. My man's Peely finna get his fair share and then some. Believe that. Oh, he getting it all. Yeah. No leftovers for Peely. That's definitely the lesser of two evils, Fonz. That was one of my first questions I asked my wife. Are you a Florida fan or a Florida State fan? She said Florida State. I said, okay, we can date. Peely says, I'll for sure cut you in for a share, Randy. That's what I'm talking about. Look out for Unc. Got something to watch now for the next 2 hours. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, you're covered for the rest of the night. For all those who missed the interview, it is now 10:10. This stream will carry you into a beautiful Wednesday morning. So thank y'all for being here. Like I always say, Fawn says, oh, speaking of argument, I was going ham in the chat of SEC Unfiltered. They talking that LSU old piss. I was eating up the old piss chat. I'm going to go rewatch that then. I'm going to go rewatch that. I'm going to go rewatch that just to see you going off in the chat. I'm going to go rewatch that just for that. Just that. All right, y'all. Let's get out of here. It's 10 o'clock at night. I gotta get myself ready for this procedure. Like I said, please keep your boy in your prayers if you can. Please. Thank you so much. Absolutely love y'all. And look, world's crazy. If you want to see a difference in the world, you be the difference. And also, real quick, shout out to all my people over on Facebook who are watching. My guy Reggie, I saw you in the chat, man. Just I was getting to your questions and integrating them into the interview. Definitely saw you in the chat though. Thank you so much for being in the chat tonight for all the love that we got over there on Facebook. And my guy Mark, I saw Sunbelt Media Days in New Orleans. That's intriguing. Probably won't move the needle much, but it's something to pay attention to. So, look, Fawn says, "Okay, we talk too much. Have a great night, and we'll definitely pray for you. Have a good couple." Look, like I said, the world's crazy. If you wanna see a difference, be the difference. I challenge you. If you haven't been kind today, to be kind to someone tomorrow. God's love is free, and the best way for us to show that love is through the kindness that we share with one another, between each other. Hold the door open for somebody. Say good morning. Say good evening. Say hello. It's all it costs. Nothing. So be kind. I love you all. Thank y'all so much. Lee says much love, chat. Can't wait to see you at the next stream, AP. And T to my guy, Normal Guy. Love y'all so much. Normal Guy was first in the chat. Y'all gonna let him be last? And to my beautiful wife, I love you, baby. Thank you for everything that you do. Wouldn't be able to do all this without you. Good night.